Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week, we are back.
Matt, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
It's been about 3 weeks since we've recorded, and a month since we've talked about actual Muppets.
What did we talk about? Oh, Yoda.
Yeah, we talked about Empire Strikes Back last time. So we are back from our extended vacation, enjoying this summer as we now take a trip back to the summer of 1980. And guess what? It turns out Muppets weren't doing a whole lot of stuff on screen in the summer of 1980.
Yeah.
In fact, the main thing we're discussing this week wasn't even on screen. But we'll be discussing the time frame from June 1980 through the beginning of September 1980 in this episode. And that means we'll be talking about the 1980 World Puppetry Festival, where the Muppets did a 40-minute live performance, as well as a couple of brief Muppet TV appearances that happened during that time.
Some very brief.
Some...
Actually, both extremely brief.
Some, I would even say, unnecessary.
It took longer to click on the YouTube link, in fact, than it did to watch the thing.
Yeah, I rewatched it about 5 times to try and see if there was a point to it. And still, nothing. But before we get into that, how you feeling about, being back talking about Muppets, Sam?
I think I'm feeling great about it. The best time to talk about Muppets is right after just a really hard day at work. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah, Sam and I both had very hard, stressful days at work today. And then we were like, I guess we're doing this, huh? We're going to do this? Let's do this.
We usually do them Sunday morning, and I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm like, sometimes I'm hungover, not so much lately, because I'm getting older and I can't drink as much as I used to. But usually I'm just like, okay, talking to my friend Matt. Maybe my wife's going to get a little mad at me because she wants me to do chores. But today it's just like, oh man, it's nighttime already.
We already worked 8-9 hours today, and then we're just going to dive in and...
But this isn't work, Matt. This is fun.
This is all pure fun.
That's what we have to keep telling ourselves.
Well, I also feel like if there's anything that has to do with this podcast that is work, it is not the recording. No. It is the actual watching and prepping notes
and then
for this podcast.
That part, editing it, and then promoting it. Making those beautiful Photoshop things that you make. I don't even know how you do some of those.
Like the little episode graphic things?
Yeah.
I just Photoshop them.
They look
I don't know.
Matt, I appreciate everything.
I appreciate you. You edit every episode. I don't do that. That's really hard. I realized as I was saying that, I'm like, the hard part is really in the pre-production.
Yeah.
That's because I don't do any post-production.
I thought you were going to say the editing part. But then you didn't, and I was like, okay.
No, I just thought about the parts that I do.
Your part's hard too, I'm sure. I'd imagine it's hard. I wouldn't know.
It was harder building the spreadsheet at the beginning, but nowadays it's just maintaining.
Well, how are you feeling about talking about Muppets again? Maybe we should just quit the podcast.
We're going to quit in 1980?
Yeah.
We're not even going to make it through Jim Henson's whole career? We're just going to stop in 1980, sort of arbitrarily?
Yeah. We'll pretend this is the last thing they ever did was this puppetry festival.
What a weird note to go out on.
Yeah.
Feels like they're on top of the world, and they're just like, you know what? We're done.
Out. No one ever saw any of them ever again.
Kermit the what?
Hey, did anything exciting ever happen in Holy Moly?
Holy Moly update for, I guess, the last 6 weeks. We haven't probably talked about Holy Moly. They're still there. The Muppets are still there.
It's still going on?
Yeah, so Holy Moly took a week off this past week, so nothing happened the most recent week since we're recording this.
Okay.
But the week before that was actually, I think the 2 weeks before that were the most exciting ones. Kermit was actually in the booth during one of them, so
Right.
actually interacting with the show in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after that, there was like a full 2.5, 3 minutes of Muppets throughout, and they were actually pretty entertaining Muppet segments. So
Okay.
they're ramping up, and it does seem like they're gonna be involved in the finale in some sort of meaningful way, even if it's just like the distraction hole where they're just there, distracting the golfers.
Yeah. 2.5, 3 minutes is such a sad bar to be excited about also.
Especially out of an hour long
The longest show on television.
So yeah, if you're turning in for like to watch this hour long show, hoping to see a lot of Muppets, and you only get 2.5 to 3 minutes,
Yeah, you
usually as
better
like
hope.
commercial bumpers.
You better hope you like mini golf stunts.
Yeah, to be fair, like the one nice thing is this most recent episode had Uncle Deadly in it, which was
Ah,
nice.
That's interesting.
Still serving in his role as like Piggy's assistant, like he
Right.
did in the 2015 series.
Right.
So it was good to see Uncle Deadly again. He was in Muppets Haunted Mansion, but obviously had a pretty small part as the like doing the ceremony for the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seeing him again as Piggy's assistant was nice. But again, you could cut together like all of these like Muppet moments from all of these episodes, and I feel like they're going to add up to less than like one full episode of Holy Moly.
Oh, that's so sad.
But I think there's I don't know if there's 8 episodes left. I don't know how long a full season is, but they took a break after the 8th episode. So
I think it's usually
that's...
10.
Oh, okay. Then they
Yeah.
maybe only got a couple left.
I think it's 10.
Well, then yes, we have 8 episodes I believe have aired, and then there's only 2 to go, I guess.
Hell, they could
So-
still surprise us.
I mean, at this point, even last week's with like 3 minutes of Muppets was a surprise
It
and
had Matt
pleasantly
clapping his
surprised.
hands.
Yeah. But yes, hopefully the finale. That's what I keep holding out hope for. Is that at least the finale has a good selection of Muppets in it.
That's going to be so funny when it breaks your heart.
They just like put Animal like limply laying on the golf hole. He's not even like being puppeteered. He's
Yeah.
just laying there like. That's pretty distracting. A dead animal.
That is just, yeah, it's distressing. It's the distressing hole. What do
Yeah.
you say? Distressment? What is that? Distressing. The distressing
Yeah,
hole.
distressing's a word.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you were mixed up because it's normally the distraction
Right.
hole.
Distraction and
so
distracting
you were saying
are both a
distraction,
thing.
which is not a thing.
Shouldn't there be a distraction? Something that's
Distression?
distressing is distressing or whatever.
I had a distraction.
Yeah. I bet it's a real word.
I mean, it might be like a fake real word where like the internet uses it, but it's not like in Webster's or anything.
I invented it just now. Webster's. Distraction.
How are you spelling that?
Oh, Distrestion. Is that anything?
I mean,
Distression.
immediately you said that like you found it.
Yeah.
Did you?
Distress, suffering, the state of being in great trouble. It's a real word. Oh, on Urban Dictionary. So, never mind.
You can find anything on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
It's not a real word.
I take it all back.
Well, how about we jump back in the saddle, Sam, and you tell us what we watched this week.
Wee. That was the horse.
I was gonna say, are you also the horse?
The horse. No, he's just below me. You can't see him.
Okay.
In June 1980, the World Puppetry Festival was held. The event was put on by UNIMA, an international puppet organization with a French name that I'm not going to try to say, and the Puppeteers of America. Jim helped organize the event, and, wouldn't you know it, the Muppets have a nice, meaty, 40-minute long performance showing off the past and present of the beloved puppet troupe, with maybe a taste of the future, and that it was a little pretentious and boring. Anyway, the show kicks off with Sweetums pushing a big TV onto the stage, inside of which Kermit and Fozzie appear. They do a little back and forth about how great puppets are, before getting freaked out by the hairy men beneath them, then get pushed off the stage so a bunch of birds can do a dance that lasts forever. We get Fletcher Bird, we get them big, what are they called? The big guys.
Boss
Goonie
men?
birds? What are they called?
Oh, yeah, there are Goonie birds as well.
And we've got a distressingly sexy female counterpart to Fletcher Bird. And of course, we have Big Bird, who wanders onto the stage as the other birds are playing around and having fun without him, which feels like a pretty apt metaphor for Carol Spinney's relationship with the rest of the Muppet crew. Big Bird sings for a little while, and then the TV gets pushed back on again, so Bert and Ernie can do a really bad bit where Bert is mad that his pigeon Bernice didn't get to be part of the previous number. After that goes nowhere for a little while, Sweetums mercifully pushes them off the stage so those weird green gazelles we saw dancing with Juliet Prowse on The Muppet Show can come out and hop around. Then some birds and butterflies also come out and flap around for a little bit. Then Sweetums comes out with a big black box, out of which pops the little Java Tube guys, who do that classic Java bit that we all know and love. Then the Clodhoppers come out and do some sort of little story where I think one of them is supposed to be like shy, but then he starts getting really into it and twerking.
He invented twerking back in 1980.
Yeah, I think he maybe did. Sweetums pushes the TV out again, and Kermit introduces Miss Piggy, who gives us a great speech about how proud she is of all the strange men who play with little dollies who are sitting in the audience. And then she and Kermit sing a melody of love songs that's charming, if a little bit disjointed. I'm not sure what's supposed to be happening at the end exactly. Sweetums clears the stage, and then a roller skating trash man zips out, carrying a can with who else in it but Oscar the Grouch, who sings I Love Trash, while Carrol Spinney, I assume, roller skates while puppeteering both Oscar and Bruno the trash man at the same time. Is that what's happening?
I mean, yeah, that was my realization, and we're going to talk a lot about this because Bruno is also our Muppet of the Week, but my realization this week was that Bruno might be better than Big Bird.
Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's like the ultimate. You couldn't. What else could you do besides be roller skating and doing two people at the same time?
And singing, and yeah, just...
Yeah, I wasn't
he's
sure if
doing
he was lip syncing or not, but...
I don't think so, because there's a couple times where he sort of has to ad-lib a little bit, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's... I think Bruno...
A couple times where he goes, whoa, whoa.
Well, and also one point where he tries to work the Bruno puppet, and, like, Oscar has to say, like, if I can only find this control.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. So then, as Oscar is singing and roller skating around, more and more Muppets start to filter in as the song goes on, leading up to the big finale, which is sort of just a bunch of big Muppets lumbering about on stage for a while before Jim, Frank, and Carol come out for a couple big bows. We also watched 4 TV spots for the Puppetry Festival, which were just kind of little skits with Statler and Waldorf telling you where to go and when it was going to happen, with kind of like an awkward laugh track situation going on that maybe wasn't necessary. Next up, we watched a clip from a show called Eileen and Friends, which seems to have been like a locally broadcast variety show made for a Boston TV personality named Eileen Prowse. Or Eileen Prose, I don't know which one. Oscar the Grouch is kind of just there for some reason, and he sings I Love Trash. Then Eileen sings the song that Lois Lane sings in the old Superman movie to Oscar, as he's kind of just like hanging out, looking at her adoringly. Because women love Oscar, and I think Oscar loves women as well.
Yeah, it reminded me of Leslie Uggams in the very special Sesame Street Christmas when she sang lovingly to him out of her window, and he had no reaction then either. And this feels like they told Carrol Spinney, like, oh yeah, no, you're going to sit in for that number. And he's like, why? And they're like, 'cause, I don't know, Oscar needs to be there. And they're like, what's he going to do? I don't really know.
Yeah. It's so strange. Finally, we watched a portion of the Jerry Lewis Telethon, wherein Jerry accepts a check from the president of the RSROA, which was a roller rink organization of some sort. So this man
The Roller Skating Rink Operators of America,
this
Sam.
This man's
Put some respect on their name.
He's the president of roller skating.
He's the vice president, Sam.
He's the vice president?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the president of roller skating couldn't make it?
He was too busy.
Well, anyway, the vice president is flanked by walk-around-sized Bert and Ernie, who I think are on roller skates. I assume they are. And then Jerry Lewis keeps saying, "Hey, Bert, give me a cookie," over and over again. He doesn't know who they are.
No, it's bizarre. Let's just talk about this real quick.
Okay.
I mean, we've pretty much said everything there is to say about the Eileen and Friends thing. Like, Oscar's there. He hangs out with Eileen.
Yeah. He's clearly wondering why
he's
there the whole time.
Yeah, I even clipped that clip out and put it on Twitter as a wait for this moment, because if you start just hearing her sing, you have
You're right.
The idea that Oscar just shows up at the end of that is wild.
He's just like, what are you doing?
And he doesn't even do anything afterwards. It's not like he's like, meh, too sappy.
Yeah.
He's just
like,
yeah. And like the clip is also called Happy Birthday, Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah.
But that's just because Eileen uploaded it to her YouTube channel.
That's another funny thing. She doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, but she does have a YouTube channel.
So that's a theme on a couple of these things, is that like Eileen herself apparently uploaded this because in the description of the video, it's like, "Happy birthday, Oscar. I wanted to upload this from this old show I did once with Oscar the Grouch." And it was uploaded like 5 days after his birthday back in like 2017. Yeah. And at first I was like, oh, did they have like a birthday celebration for Oscar on her show? But no, because like Oscar's birthday as June 1st wasn't even really established until 2000. So it's like, okay, this is a very weird choice. It was a weird choice at the time for them to do this, and it was also a weird choice for her to upload it, but I'm happy she did.
Yeah. It's great. It's charming.
But getting back to Jerry Lewis, the telethons are a thing obviously he did forever.
I have a write-up about it. You want me to...
Yeah, go right into it.
The MDA Labor Day Telethon, informally known as the Jerry Lewis Telethon, began in 1966 and was put on by the Muscular Dystrophy Association to raise funds for and bring awareness to muscular dystrophy. The show would run for almost 24 hours when it was on, with Jerry bringing on lots of guests, showing pre-taped clips, and singing the song You'll Never Walk Alone over and over again. And then Jerry Lewis was a comedian who's best known for his partnership with Dean Martin, which produced several films in the 50s. He was a big star through the 50s and into the 60s when he started directing his own films, like the original Nutty Professor. But by 1980, he was probably best known for being the man on the telethon, I would imagine.
That was my knowledge of him as a kid was always hearing about the Jerry Lewis telethon. And it had been, it was like on for almost 50 years in total, so it makes sense. But at the same time, like, I don't ever remember watching it. I just remember it being referenced as being a thing.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, it's for a serious cause, but I think because of him, it was kind of like, what a goofy thing this guy is. So he's just on there being goofy.
Yeah, and I did not watch. It's like I think it's like an hour-long clip or something that this little like 5-second Bert and Ernie thing is in the middle of.
Yeah.
Did not watch that whole hour or the other 23 hours of the telethon. But in the few minutes surrounding the Bert and Ernie clip, it is bizarre because Ed McMahon is there co-hosting it with him, and they just sort of like bicker a little bit, but not even in like a way where it seems like they're trying to be funny.
They are an hour 24.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like, I understand if they're tired or like ready to be done with this, but it's very strange. Yeah. Just the energy that they bring to it.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking while I was watching it? Me and you could do that.
For 24 hours?
Yeah.
I've done like Project for Awesome for like an hour or two at a time, and usually at the end of that 2 or 3 hours or whatever it is, I'm kind of ready to go to sleep.
That's what the secret is, what they were doing in the 80s? Coke, probably.
That's not what we should do, though.
Maybe I should start doing Coke for this podcast. Okay.
I think you need to cut this part out.
Police, turn off the podcast now. Or, turn it off maybe like 45 seconds ago.
Yeah. At the edit point where Sam just cut this whole last minute out of the podcast.
This is parody.
But speaking of people who don't have like Wikipedia pages or even are maybe Googleable, this vice president of the RSROA, Marvin Thatcher, who they introduce and then donates over $3 million.
Roller skating, as he said, was doing great. Doing gangbusters back then.
And it's got about another like 10, 15 years of riding high, I think.
Gosh, they look so fun. I've never been to one, but it seems fun.
You've never been to a roller rink?
I don't know how to roller skate.
What?
Well, does that really surprise you that much?
I guess there's not like a lot of roller rinks in Montana, but you also didn't like grow up here. You've lived in cities that have roller rinks.
Yeah, I could have gone to, I suppose. I just didn't think about it. But I feel like they're kind of like becoming a thing again,
I think thanks to like Stranger Things nostalgia and other things, like people are like, I want to go to a roller rink.
Yeah. I want to do some coke and go to a roller rink.
Now you can't cut it out. I gave you an out to cut that out. But yeah, this man, Marvin Thatcher, is like ungoogleable. I was like searching roller skating, Marvin Thatcher, RSROA, Marvin Thatcher. Like, I cannot find anything about this man.
It looks like there aren't many great matches for your search, is what it's telling me.
Because I was trying to see, like, okay, like, does he still work in some sort of capacity with like the Roller Skating Association, which does still exist?
He would be 200 years old.
He looked like he was maybe in his 40s then. He could be alive.
That's true.
But yeah, apparently they had a lot of money rolling around. I did not mean to do that. It's got wheels on the brain. But they invite Bert and Ernie out to help them present that check, but they don't actually help them present the check in any way. They just stand nearby as he says, here's $3 million. Or weirdly, specifically, $3,045,000.
Yeah. Well, they got to get it right up on the big ticker, you know?
But I don't know if Bert and Ernie were just there because they could skate as walk-around characters or what it was, but
there's
they
not
don't
really
do anything.
much of a connection there. I think of them as Ice Capades guys, not...
And I wonder if that's why they were like, we need to feature them. They can roller skate because they can ice skate, so we'll bring them in when the roller skating guy is talking.
Yeah, and not mention them.
And then Bert at the end can't get out of frame. There's like a producer guy trying to push him out of frame, and he's trying to go the opposite direction.
What a shit show.
Yeah.
And but it looks kind of fun. I watched a lot of it. I watched like the whole hour, and it was just like,
oh, wow.
Because that's kind of like my kind of thing. Just like that live TV chaos that doesn't happen anymore.
I only watched the next segment, which allowed me to laugh like a 5-year-old, because they brought out the president of Wawa, Dick Wood.
Yeah, Dick Wood. I wrote that down, I think.
You wrote down Dick Wood in your notes?
Yeah, Dick Wood Jr.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, we could do this. That's the last note I took. Me and you. Let's have a 24-hour Muppet-thon. We'll raise money.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. Raise money for something.
What are we going to do, like, to
Walt
keep
Disney
ourselves
Corporation
and
will
the
raise
crowd?
Money for the Walt Disney Corporation.
I think they're doing okay, Sam.
Did you say what are we going to do to what? To keep ourselves awake?
To keep ourselves...
You know the answer to that. We're going to do Coke.
This is the worst episode we've ever done.
You want to know what else was going on in 1980 before we talk about the Puppetry Festival?
Yeah, and I've also got some other things that were happening in the Muppet world in 1980, but you tell me what was happening in the non-Muppet world.
Well, in June, that's when we start. June 1980, CNN, the first 24-hour cable news channel, launched a move which would probably cause irreparable harm to the American psyche that continues to this day in the form of all the various 24-hour news networks. The Unabomber, an American terrorist mail bomber, was active, I think, starting in like 76. He just hasn't really come up, but he almost blew up the president of United Airlines in June 1980. And all throughout the period we're discussing, there was something I never heard of before called the 1980 United States Heat Wave, which killed 1,700 people. Have you heard about that?
Holy shit, no.
It's like 108 degrees throughout the Midwest for 3 months. Ronald Reagan is also nominated for president by the Republicans. Spoiler alert, he will go on to beat Jimmy Carter in a few months. And at the movies, The Blues Brothers, Airplane, and Caddyshack are all released.
So during this time, because the Muppets were not active on screen, they were very active behind the screen, which is a phrase that people definitely say. On June 8th, which is the same day as the World Puppetry Festival was happening, Jim wrote in his journal, "The rest of the week, I record interviews and intros for TV special PBS Here Come the Puppets."
Oh, yeah. They chopped up some of the Puppetry Festival for Here Come the Puppets, right?
Yes. So we will eventually be discussing some of the things we are discussing today again in a slightly different format where they make it like an hour-long, I think, special all about puppetry, but it includes other performances from the World Puppetry Festival, including like Sherry Lewis and people. And they also do like interstitial segments where they're talking more about puppetry directly to camera. So we will see some of this again, but I wanted us to be able to watch the whole thing to really understand what they were doing for like one of their first real like live performances as a troupe. But then in July 1980, Jim writes in his journal, checking out locations for Caper.
Oh.
Yeah, now you see why they weren't very busy on screen in the summer of 1980 is because Jim was working with Martin Baker, who was going to be the location manager on the film. He met Martin Baker in 1971 because Martin Baker was the guest travel coordinator for the Tom Jones special that the Muppets taped in London, which once again proves how pivotal that special was that we can't find.
Oh, I forgot we couldn't watch that. What else was happening in that special?
It's like 4 or 5 people. Like they all met them and started working with them. I think maybe even Lou Grade or something like that. It was like they all met them through working on that special, and then that's why the Muppet Show exists. But Martin Baker would go on to be the floor manager for The Muppet Show, and he also continued to work with the Muppets at least through the 2011 movie. Also in July 1980, specifically on July 15th, 1980, Jim wrote, "Meet Ralph Kemplin, love him."
Who's Ralph Kemplin?
So Ralph Kemplin is going to be the editor of both Dark Crystal and The Great Muppet Caper.
And he loved him.
He loved him.
Wow.
And so Jim's plan was to basically build a crew of people that he really liked working with that could work on both these movies because he wanted to do them pretty close back to back and also, I guess, wanted to keep it simple. And so we previously talked about Ozzie Morris, who was the cinematographer on both of those films. And it turns out not only did Ozzie Morris and Ralph Kemplin work together previously, but they also both retired after both of these movies because they were, again, like men in their 60s, I believe. So they were both like, yeah, I think Jim tired us out, I guess.
Yeah.
They got 2 more in me. They had to do 2.
Oh, right.
But yeah, so Jim wanted to make these like 2-picture deals with a lot of like the heavy hitters in the crew because he basically wanted to use Caper as a chance for them to get to know everyone and then wanted to have this like really together crew for this big weird thing he was going to make with the Dark Crystal, just because he knew it was going to be weird going in, and so I think he wanted a group of people who had already worked together and knew how to work with each other. But then still in July 1980, July 18th, 1980, Jim wrote that they were recording the orchestra for Caper, so they must have been starting to record the music that they were going to have to lip sync to on the set.
They jumped right in, huh?
And then in August 1980, August 18th, 1980, Frank would appear on the Today Show, being interviewed by Gene Shalit. And the notes just said Frank demonstrates sans puppets, his voices for Grover, Cookie Monster, and Miss Piggy, which, seeing the energy we've seen from Gene Shalit in other clips, makes me think that he was just like, hey, do Grover, do Grover. Hey, come on, hey, now Cookie Monster.
I don't think, I was thinking this the other day, I don't think I've ever seen Frank Oz do Miss Piggy straight out of his own mouth.
Well, I think he's even talked about how he doesn't like to do that. Like, it feels weird to him because it's not just like a voice or a performance. Like, he's acting through the puppet. Yeah. So it's weird for him to do it without the puppet. But yeah, that was one of the sadly since deleted clips that I had found at one point, and then somebody on YouTube was like, nah, it's going to go away now.
The world can't see these.
Then on August 22nd, 1980, is the last day of taping The Muppet Show.
The last day ever.
The last day ever. They filmed the very last episode on August 22nd, 1980.
Does he say anything about it? Does he say, sad?
He didn't. All he said was big party, speeches by Abe and Lou.
Who's Abe?
I don't even know. Off the top of my head. I should have looked that up. But Lou is obviously Lord Lou Grade, who is the man largely responsible for it existing. Then, continuing a very busy summer, on August 23rd, 1980, they held a press conference in New York. So this is the very next day. Jim obviously flew from London to New York. So hot off the heels of finishing up The Muppet Show, Kermit was going to be announced as the UNICEF spokesfrog.
Oh.
Yeah. So for 1980 and then 1981, at least, Kermit was going to be the spokesperson for UNICEF. I guess, again, spokesfrog. And they apparently did a 1980 Halloween campaign because, for those that don't know, UNICEF often does donations through like a trick-or-treat kind of thing. Yeah. And with Kermit as chair frog, apparently that was the most successful campaign in history up until that point.
Wow.
Yeah, so they decided to renew that, and in 1981, he would go on to tape some PSAs as Kermit. And we will eventually at least watch one of those, I have found.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, they'll go on to work with UNICEF some more in the future, even up through, like, after Jim dies, they continue to work with UNICEF in some capacity. And guess what? There's even more stuff to talk about. They did a lot. August 24th, 1980. This will sound very familiar to you, Sam. The Muppets, the people behind the Muppets, flew to Bermuda for a company retreat.
Oh, that's what we just did.
We did just do that. And guess what? They had a company-wide retreat for their entire staff, which was about like 85 people at the time.
Wow.
They had both the New York and London-based people all come together. It started off, Jim showed some highlights from their history and talked about, gave a historical overview of the company. broken down to Part 1, 1954 to 1962, Part 2, 1962 to 1969, Part 3, 1969 to 1975, and Part 4, 1976, Towards the Future.
Oh, I bet it was so boring.
Well, and then after that, everyone broke off into small groups to discuss expectations, and then moved into focus seminars to discuss things like
This is
what is the
exactly what we
contribution
did.
mission of Muppets in the world today. There was meals and entertainment that were carefully planned with lots of opportunities to socialize.
Yeah.
And they even got to participate in a jam session, apparently.
Ew, that sounds bad.
But individual departments also had work sessions.
Oh my God. Hank
yeah.
stole this retreat for our retreat.
I think it's the corporate retreat model, and we've just never had one of those before.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But they then got to go on a cruise and have an afternoon on the beach.
What the? We gotta go on the beach at night. What a ripoff.
There was a bonfire. It wasn't just sitting on the beach at night.
We didn't go to Bermuda also.
No. I mean, we went to Huntington Beach, California, which was sunny.
You can see Bermuda from there.
That's definitely not true.
Is that in the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, this whole retreat was then capped off by a gala dinner with dancing to the Bermuda All-Stars Steel Drum Band.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And the final session of the retreat was a look toward the future, which was led by Jim.
Ugh. He probably just goes on and on.
Yeah, I don't imagine it being the most, like, I don't know. I imagine Jim being the main presenter, not being the most entertaining thing. Maybe he should have let Frank lead some of those panels. Would have been true chaos, but
Frank would wander off halfway through. He'd get bored.
just, fuck this. But we've been building to this. The biggest thing that happens in the summer of 1980, on September 4th, 1980, they begin shooting the Great Muppet Caper. And they began in Battersea Park with the most complicated sequence. There's a lot of complicated sequences in that movie. One of the most complicated sequences in the movie is when all of the Muppets are all riding bikes together.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a lot more about that when we watch that movie.
You think you liked one Muppet riding a bike? Check this shit out.
That's pretty much what it was. That's pretty much seemed to be what their thought was. But they applied, apparently, to be considered for a Visual Effects Academy Award based on that scene.
Yeah.
And he explained in his application, the puppets' feet on the pedals had to turn in time with the beat of the music, and both to be in time with each other and travel at realistic speed.
All right. All right. So boring that the people at the Academy were falling asleep. We put a frog on a bike, baby. Come on.
But yes, we will talk about that, I'm sure, a lot more once we actually watch it. And the last note I have about what the Muppets were up to, just because Jim made note of it specifically in his journal, on September 8th, 1980, he put the note, shooting Peter Falk.
Oh, no.
Alas, Sam, not a sad, violent note. This is when they are filming Peter Falk's cameo in the Great
It's like the
Muppet
best part of
Caper.
the whole movie. He's so funny in that movie.
He is written as a disheveled gentleman in the notes here. But yes, obviously a very busy summer for the Muppets. They are up to a lot prepping for the Great Muppet Caper, and now they are filming the Great Muppet Caper. So we're getting closer to this post-Muppet Show, Great Muppet Caper, Dark Crystal era, Sam.
What a weird right after the Muppet Show project, I feel like. We'll talk about it more when it happens, but so weird to just like immediately reboot them, kind of.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the context of everything else we've watched, like getting to Great Muppet Caper and going like, oh, okay, they decided to like go a completely different direction with the Muppets and decided to do a story where the Muppets are playing characters now.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kermit the Frog is not the Kermit the Frog we have seen mostly forever. Mm-hmm. It's going back to like their Tinker D days. Mm-hmm. But again, we'll talk about that. I was going to say soon. It's probably not that soon. We have a whole 5th season of the Muppet Show to get through, Sam. Right now, we're on track to talk about Great Muppet Caper in mid-October.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. But getting back to the star of the show this week, the World Puppetry Festival. Overall, I was surprised at the lack of other puppeteers besides Frank Oz, Jim Henson, and Carrol Spinney.
You mean like getting a moment to voice a character and stuff like that?
Right, like because obviously we see a lot of background puppeteers performing birds and stuff, or in suits that we don't really get to hear them perform anything. But like, it's weird that we didn't see Gonzo or Scooter or Floyd
or like an
somebody.
Electric Mayhem concert would have been great.
Yeah, it felt like maybe those people weren't available at the time. Mm-hmm. not sure. I could not find any information about that. But yeah,
I guess I got the vibe that he wanted to do his classy stuff for all of his classy friends.
it does come off a bit like that, especially in the dance numbers, because it is just the most boring segments of the Muppet Show put on stage.
Yeah.
But they also mix in some of the more fun stuff with Fozzie and Miss
Right.
Piggy and Bert and Ernie cracking jokes.
Mhm.
Mostly Frank Oz brings the levity
Yeah.
to these
Jim seems like
performances.
this is one of Jim's weaker attempts at ad-libbing, I feel like.
Well, and in the very beginning, Kermit pretty much just becomes Jim
Mhm.
for a second, which is a very sweet moment where Kermit starts talking about how happy he is to be at the World Puppetry Festival with all these
Yeah,
other really
that was
famous
nice.
puppeteers. But he's like calling them out by like first name. He calls Sherry Lewis Sherry and all this stuff, and it's like that's just Jim talking right now.
Yeah. I like that was maybe like my favorite part of the whole thing before Fozzie showed up, and it was kind of like, this feels a little clunky now. I thought it was funny too that you could see Jim's head so clearly the entire time. And like you never see his head.
Well, you got to think about this, Sam. The main thing in with most of this is that they were doing it for the people in the room.
Yeah.
And-
So they were down there.
Right. So they're lower. So like the camera is higher up than any of the audience members would have been.
That's true. That's true.
So it's unlikely that anyone in the room would have been able to like see the tops of their heads.
Yeah. One thing I was really wondering the whole time was if the audience was not liking it or if they just weren't mic'd up. I couldn't, because it felt so dead the whole time. And I think that's what was kind of making me like, it was taking me out of it because it felt so low energy, I guess.
I am going to lean towards the fact that they weren't mic'd, again, because I don't think this was... I mean, obviously they used part of it for Here Come the Puppets, so we'll have to see. Maybe the audience was mic'd for that.
Mm-hmm.
But because what we watched seemed like it was just the like raw filming happening in the room, and like there's even time code on the footage, so I like maybe there's an audio track they didn't lay in to this version,
Yeah.
and so we're just hearing the audio that the people in the room were hearing through the PA or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this feels very much like, I've been going through and digitizing a lot of old home movies lately, and this feels like the old home movies that my mom like taped of my high school plays, where I'm just like,
Yeah,
like some of this is clearly not meant to be like consumed in this way.
that's true.
But at the beginning, they are introduced by one Mr. Burr Tillstrom, who is the creator of Kukla, Fran, and Ollie,
Oh, right.
one of the most like important early TV puppeteering shows
Mm-hmm.
that inspired Jim early on and made him think, hey, I could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have maybe watched a clip or two of Kukla, Fran, and Ollie at one point, because I think we talked about how poor the puppeteering was.
Well, that was one where it was like all completely ad-libbed, right?
I think it was, and it was like them and Fran. It was like Fran was the human, and then Kukla and Ollie were the two puppets.
Fran was the babe.
Yeah. But it was like they just ad-libbed for like 30 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And the I remember whichever one, Kukla or Ollie, was like the snake-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just the puppeteering, like the mouth just not matching
at all, yeah.
anything that he was saying. But I think he's like, that's just Bert Tillstrom back there with two puppets trying to have two different conversations and probably forgetting which hand is which puppet at sometimes.
And then Jim came along and said, what if we made the mouths match up with the words? And
what a wild idea.
history was made.
But if I remember correctly from Brian J. Jones's biography of Jim Henson, that was largely inspirational for him to see that like humans interacting with puppets was like a potentially good idea.
Yeah. I think
but
grown-ups liked it too, was another thing that he had taken away from it, if I remember correctly.
But yes, it is Bert Tillstrom who introduces them, and it says a nice little lovely sentiment about Don Saleen at the very beginning there.
Yeah.
It mentions that he was at the 1960 Puppet Convention with Don Saleen because Don Saleen was working for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they met Jim and Jane and even little Lisa, who would have been like 3 months old at the time
Yeah.
when they dragged her to Detroit to go to the puppetry convention.
Was this the first one of these?
The one we watched?
The first World Puppetry Festival?
That's a great question. It feels like a big deal, so I don't really know. It's obviously not the first puppet convention that they've put on, but it might be the first one that like they've teamed up on, and it's definitely the biggest. It seems like because they do this at the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C., and they also did it like at other locations across the city because it couldn't be contained in the Kennedy Center. And I'm sure we will also end up hearing a lot more about this when we watch Here Come the Puppets, because I know that's filmed in different areas around Washington, D.C. as well. But for now, we'll talk about what we watched and what happens on the stage here. And it, like as Sam mentioned earlier, it starts off with Sweetums wheeling out a big TV cart like a teacher on movie day in the 90s. And instead of, instead of watching Glory or something, you watch Kermit popping out of the Muppetized TV set.
Yeah. Is this the first time Sweetums has gone dum-de-dum-dum-dum before, right?
That you're really asking me if I remember Sweetums saying dum-de-dum-dum-dum?
I feel like that's a key component of his personality. He probably does it in the Muppet movie when he's wheeling out the cars,
Maybe. This does feel like it's setting up like Sweetums in a way that we haven't necessarily seen him as a performer before, as like a stagehand, like gopher kind of guy.
Yeah.
And obviously it's because they can have a full grown man going out there and actually pushing a thing.
Yeah. But that's what I thought too. Like this is Sweetums as a big helpful guy, which is not something we necessarily have seen yet.
No, not necessarily. And I think like we've seen him just pretty much in the movie being like the oaf chasing after them. And then a couple times in like dancing scenes on the Muppet Show.
Right.
But he hasn't really had much of a character. At least not this kind of character.
This is the Sweetums from Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah, this feels very much the same Sweetums that we see in the Muppet Vision. And also just like later on, again, like whenever you have a scene of the Muppets fixing a theater or doing something where they need something big moved around, like you're going to have Sweetums being the one who's moving it.
Right.
But you did not like when Fozzie shows up, it sounded like.
I just didn't think it was all that funny, really. It kind of, I think because you couldn't hear the laughter, it just felt like probably they were like responding to people laughing and like building on the joke or something. But instead it just kind of felt like he was rambling to me.
It also felt a little bit like Frank was ruining Jim's day.
Yeah.
Like it felt like Jim was like here, Kermit shows up in a tuxedo. Jim's really excited that all his heroes are here. His hero is introducing him, and he's like, and his friend comes in like, hey, what's up, buddy? This looks like shit.
Yeah. This TV sucks. There's people underneath us. Your head's poking out.
Yeah. Peace, I'm out. Yeah, no, it's a fun, chaotic Frank Oz energy that we've come to know and love, but it does feel like a little mismatched with what Kermit is doing. And again, I think 60-70% of the time throughout this, that works. And that other 30-40% of the time, it's kind of like, okay.
You're at the
like
World Puppetry Festival, guys. Come on.
Which, again, does give them the opportunity to make a lot of jokes that they wouldn't make in other things. Like, I think when we get them calling out the people below them, it is a fun meta moment that we will see other times in the history of Muppet stuff. But this is like the audience for that joke.
Right. They all know. They're down there too.
Well, and thankfully, Fozzie does suffer for his sins. He gets left alone. Kermit abandons him alone in front of this audience, and Fozzie has nothing for him. Nope. And someone in the crowd yells out, "Tell a joke!" And he's like, "Oh, please, no."
Yeah, I forgot about that part. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and that's where he stumbles through that, trying to figure out what he wants to do, and then he realizes there's a man underneath me.
Yeah.
But yes, Kermit tries to explain to Fozzie that they are indeed puppets, and that those are puppeteers underneath them.
Does Fozzie say, like, I can't comprehend that or something like that?
Yeah, he says, I can't understand that concept. When I get it, but you've also been a puppeteer on The Muppet Show.
That's
so you know what puppets are.
You've used a puppet, you fool.
But I guess being told you are a puppet is maybe a little heavy.
Yeah, one of those brain-shattering moments.
Yeah, this is Fozzie finding out he lives in a simulation.
Oh, no.
Because he just powers down. As soon as Frank takes his hand out of him, it's just boom.
He's in the box.
And so, yeah, he doesn't remember being in the box.
Goes in the box in 1997, comes out of the box in 2007 or whatever. He's like, how long is it?
My voice sounds a little different.
Yeah.
But then we have a performance by the Muppet Birds of all shapes and sizes.
Every single one they have ever used, basically.
Even some I don't think we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
There's some cute green birds dancing around in the background that I don't remember ever seeing on the Muppet Show before. And maybe we'll see them in season 5. Who knows?
Oh,
But
yeah.
so far, we haven't seen them. But yeah, it's a bunch of people in black morph suits dancing on stage, flapping the bird puppets around.
Doing some limbo, which is pretty cute.
The limbo idea is very cute
Yeah.
because you have 2 bird puppets who are like flapping, holding up a limbo stick in midair. And while this obviously works better on TV when you can't see the men in black suits as easily, it's still a very good concept and like shows the thought that went into the performance.
Yeah.
But the 2 surprises during this is one, Big Bird is here. Like, I guess if you're going to have all the Muppet Birds, you got to include Big Bird, but I just don't, because of the Muppet Show, usually include him when I think of Muppet Birds.
You don't see him with other birds super often either, I feel like.
Well, it's also weird because he's the only one with like a vocabulary. Like,
That's true.
some of the other birds are singing along in the background, but like they're not having a conversation like he is.
He's the only one who can talk, and he's simultaneously the dumbest one of all of them, too.
Well, maybe he's the next evolution. So like they're just a step behind him on the evolutionary little chart there.
Yeah.
And so there's a really smart bird coming after him.
Oh, God help us.
And maybe it'll be Fletcher or his female counterpart, Betsy Bird.
The distressingly sexy one.
Yeah. Who I would agree, perhaps
phew.
distressingly sexy. Well, she's clearly trying to be a sexy bird.
Yeah, she does a lot of butt thrusting and stuff.
It's like the butt is out, the chest is stuck out. I think like she kind of has boobs.
She
and she's a
definitely
bird.
has boobs. I don't think she just kind of has boobs, man.
But Betsy Bird is not a bird we have met yet, but will meet in season 5 of The Muppet Show. So there's more Betsy to come.
Mama, can't wait.
And I know I like this, but I have a feeling you did not enjoy seeing Big Bird and Fletcher Bird hanging out.
I liked it when Big Bird showed up. I thought that. I don't know. I didn't dislike it because Fletcher Bird's not very prominent, but it's just like this whole thing didn't do very much for me. I didn't get a feeling of like sometimes when they'll do these like extravaganzas, I'll be like, God bless you, you beautiful bastards. But this time I was kind of just like, you guys are flopping a little bit in front of all your friends, was what I was feeling.
Do you think there's an aspect of it where they are the most famous puppeteers in the world?
Yeah.
And so, not that they're not trying, because I'm sure they are trying very hard, but there's like a level of comfort in that, of knowing that like the bar that you have to pass to please this audience is lower than if you're getting up there with a marionette or something like that.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm saying like you go up and like you have some clout
I see
walking
what
on the stage when
It's
you're Kermit the Frog.
And that's getting you 90% of the way.
Right. You have a lot like the first 5 minutes, people are just stoked to see Kermit. So that gets you a good start.
I suppose so. I think if I was them though, I think I would be like, we got to do something outstanding because these people are going to be like laser focused on everything we're doing. And a lot of these things boil down to full body Muppets dancing around goofy, which is my least favorite thing that Muppets do, but also seems lazy. It seemed a little lazy to me, I guess.
Yeah. And it's also, again, like I think it's interesting what they chose to highlight because it is a lot of the more like non-main Muppet character dance numbers that they've had on the Muppet Show, whether it's the Gazelles or the Bossmen or the Clodhoppers. They're pulling out all these ones that were made for stage shows, and then finally getting to use them in a big live stage show.
That's true. I guess this is something that like Jim used to do all the time and really wanted to do more of, was do live stuff. So he was maybe excited just to, I guess you're right. We've seen these guys recently, but it's been like 10 years since we've seen some of these guys in real time, right?
Well, not quite 10, but like at least, 4 or 5 with some of these probably.
Right.
Like the Gazelles were in like the very first taped episode of the Muppet Show.
Right.
So like people who haven't seen the Gazelles in 5 years are probably like, oh hey, I think I remember them from the Muppet Show.
Whoa! Yeah.
As opposed to like we talked about them like 20 episodes ago or whatever
Yeah,
it
where
was.
it's just like boring.
Yeah, the gazelles again. But speaking of something we've seen many, many times, that bird segment does end with Big Bird and the other birds singing "Sing" from Sesame Street.
Good song though. I'm not gonna can't fault them for that one.
No, I definitely it is not it has not yet, at least maybe at some point it has not yet worn on me.
Mhm.
I do not mind anytime "Sing" comes on, even if in this performance Big Bird sounded a little bit more like Carrol Spinney than he did Big Bird.
He was, yeah, I noticed that too.
I mean, it's got to be hard to like do any full body Muppet on a stage,
Mm-hmm.
like in front of a lot of people, because there's just so much you have to think about and do. And then also, you know, like he can barely see in that suit. He's the only one up there really like singing. And so there's just a lot for him to think about. So I feel like if the voice is a little off, I'm not going to.
I would have just blacked out. So
Maybe he did. Maybe he doesn't even remember that.
he might not.
Like he just like afterwards, he's like, "Oh, I have to go do Big Bird now," and they're like, "You just did it.
Carrol, are you
okay? You have to be the trash man next. Hurry up." But then Sweetums brings the TV back out, and Bert and Ernie are here now for some reason.
Yeah.
Bert is mostly just upset that Bernice, his pigeon, wasn't allowed not only in the last number but also in the building.
It seemed like a sweaty premise. I wasn't buying this one.
It did seem like even Ernie wasn't really running with it.
Yeah.
Like Bert kept really trying to get him to like lean in to be like, "Hey, Ernie, you want to ask me why I'm mad?
Yeah.
Don't you? Come on, ask me why I'm so upset. Come on, Ernie." And Ernie's like, "What? Oh, okay, whatever."
Fine.
And then their joke at the end is even like they have to bail on it because the audience gets the joke before they say it.
What was it?
So they are talking about the hotel
he's
room
gonna
that they're
sleep on
sharing.
the ledge.
Yeah.
Right.
So Bert's mad because Ernie gets the bed, Bert's on a cot, and then Bernice has to sleep on the window ledge outside.
Yeah.
And Ernie's like, "Well, I have a solution. Bernice can take my bed." And Bert's like, "Oh my God, you'd really do that? That's amazing." And he's like, "Yeah, and I'll sleep on the cot." And then the crowd loses it because they realize, I get it. I see where this is going.
He's gonna sleep on the ledge.
And then like they pause for a second, and Ernie's just like, "And you get the windowsill." Like they just kind of realize like, oh, there's no joke left now.
Yeah.
Everyone got it. So Sweetums comes in to save the day and pushes them off stage, which does give us a nice little moment with Bert.
Yeah, I like that. It is like, I don't even know this guy.
He yells, "It's a monster." Yeah, he's like, "I don't know that." I think Ernie says like, "It's Sweetums," and Bert's like, "I don't know Sweetums." But yeah, I think it's just a bit odd to. I get like you're rolling out the greatest hits of your Muppets, and you have Jim and Frank there as maybe your only two main puppeteers besides Carrol Spinney.
Yeah.
And so it's just I understand pulling out Bert and Ernie because they are again the most famous characters you have.
Mm-hmm. But there's probably something more interesting and more like topically puppet festival you could have done with them.
Yeah,
Maybe.
like doing some of the like pulling off the nose or something like that. You can get a bit meta with them as opposed to the joke just being about Bernice.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the Java performance?
Oh, we're skipping
this?
right over the gazelles, huh?
I think we've talked enough about the gazelles.
Thing that bothered me about the gazelles was it seemed like there
Apparently we haven't.
It seemed like there was an end. There's that one gazelle that like wasn't hopping around. And it seemed like at one point there was like an end to that storyline, but the camera cut away exactly as the gazelle was going to do whatever he did. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think a lot of this was partially poorly filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the gazelles, but the whole thing. Like parts of it were poorly filmed, and also seemed like, again, they don't do this kind of thing very often, like doing live performances in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
So there seemed to be some of the storytelling that was lost when
Yeah.
you're doing this sort of performance where
This
it's like,
segment
oh, and it's
especially-
over now.
This segment especially felt like one where we wanted to see more of the like the faint outline of the people in suits doing their thing, so you could really tell what was going on. But it was all shot quite closely. But then this Java.
I'm pretty sure it's Java.
Not a very good performance of it, I thought.
I was going to say it's maybe the worst Java we've seen out of the
Yeah.
like 20 Javas we've watched.
Yeah, the big ones kind of slunched over a little bit. They don't quite get the snappiness of the stomp kick like they did before. They're getting old.
It's a little less well-timed and a little like less energetic than previous ones. Like I see the puppetry, I don't see the characters.
Yeah. Totally.
My complete guess as to what was happening during this live performance is that maybe some of this was to give some other puppeteers a shot.
Oh.
And like letting some of the background puppeteers who work on the Muppet Show or Sesame Street or whatever help out with this live performance.
Interesting.
Because if Jim and Frank are clearly like the stars here and Carol's got his suits that he's got to keep changing in and out of,
Yeah.
like I don't think Jim and Frank are going to be the ones doing Java. I think it's going to be puppeteer number 4 on the list.
Right, because they're... Well, they could have been the ones doing Java if they weren't
They
doing
could have
the
been.
Gazelles, and then they have time to change to Miss Piggy and Kermit.
Yes, and that's the thing is like they totally could have been the ones puppeteering them, and like I am completely wrong on all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But that was sort of, I think, how the puppetry just seemed a little sloppier than normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's chalked up to the fact that they've done this 1,000 times and they're just like, yeah, go do Java again. Or if this is somebody's first time doing Java.
Right. That makes sense. There's no way to ever know, but I wish we could.
Yeah. I mean, we had to ask Frank Oz, which seems like...
He hasn't answered any of our tweets so far.
I mean, we haven't tried, like, really hard, but we also don't want to try too
I'm
hard.
scared of him.
I think that's a fair fear to have. I think that's one of those things where if we got Frank Oz for an interview, I think if we said, like, one wrong thing, he would just leave the call.
Yeah.
He'd just be like, nah, I'm done with these
Fuck you
amateurs.
guys. Yeah.
We get a better look at how the clodhoppers are performed in this. We've seen pictures. We've been able to suss out how they do it, but now that we see them on stage without the TV cameras hiding their methods, we get to see just the men in the black suits out there with these little puppets attached to their feet.
Thrusting around.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I thought about making the clodhoppers the Muppet of the Week, and then I realized, no, there's nothing to say about them.
I saw them on the list, and I was
Yeah.
very like, what are you going to say?
They were on the list for a long time, and then I got to the end of this where Bruno the Trash Man came out, and I was like, he's way more interesting.
The clodhoppers are little blue men with shoes. The end.
That's pretty much it. I think they have a page in the character encyclopedia, but like the information on that is more than they even have on Muppet Wiki. Like Muppet Wiki is basically just a list of the times they've been used. And we will see them again. We will see them a couple more times at least, all the way up until the 90s. But,
they're in Muppets Tonight.
Yeah, we will see them for some reason over and over again, even though I don't think they're the strongest Muppets that we have available.
Look too much like Grover.
They do look like a bit like an uncanny valley Grover. Like somebody tried to make a Grover replica and sell it on eBay.
Like a Grover in a claw machine.
Yeah, or like an Etsy Grover that's like selling for $40.
Yeah.
And you're like, $40 doesn't seem like enough for a good Grover. But then Miss Piggy is finally here. Everyone's been waiting, as Kermit alludes to see the star of the show, Miss Piggy, who does come out and is very condescending about puppets.
I really liked it. I gotta say though, it kind of reminded me of like a Donald Trump speech. It's kind of like
the tone of it.
Yeah.
Which is like most puppeteers are very odd, very sick people, deeply disturbed.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about it.
Maybe that's where Trump got his inspiration from.
Maybe so.
He's like, everyone loves this mean pig. I should just be more like this mean pig on the TV.
I think that's probably what it was. He's probably met her before.
You're probably right.
Miss
We're going to have
Piggy,
to watch
you're
Donald Trump
beautiful.
at some point, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Mm.
I thought this was a great Miss Piggy segment, though. Mostly just because of how mean she was being, which I found delightful.
Yeah, no, I think like this is, again, Frank Oz clearly came into this wanting to do some meta comedy.
Yeah.
And he does it with Fozzie when he calls out that there's puppeteers below them, and he does it with Miss Piggy as he calls out the weird, disturbed puppeteers in the audience. And even when Kermit says, like, Piggy, you've offended most of the people here. And she's like, oh, yeah? Who'd I miss?
I missed that part.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Also, I looked on Muppet Wiki, and it seems like maybe we don't have to see Donald Trump ever with the Muppets.
Shocking that they got through the 90s without running into that guy.
Well, there's also a lot of parodies of Donald Trump through the years on like Sesame Street and stuff.
Right.
But there's also this picture that I'm sending you right now that I want you to see.
Oh no! What the hell? It's the dinosaurs from Dinosaurs.
But like the walk around, like Hollywood Studios versions of them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
fake food in front of them too.
Yeah. It's like, that picture of Donald Trump when he was standing behind like all the Big Macs or whatever at the White House? It's like that, but add dinosaurs. But yeah, the caption on Muppet Wiki just says Trump with then-wife Marla Maples and dinosaurs walkarounds in 1992. It does not say why they're there.
Maybe he just really liked that show.
Apparently, I found a source now. In February 1992, Trump and his wife welcomed the walk-around characters from Dinosaurs to his then-owned Plaza Hotel in New York City to promote the TV show in conjunction with Toy Fair.
They couldn't even get the real dinosaurs, though.
No, but like this was literally just to promote the TV show as a part of Toy Fair. They had the dinosaurs over for dinner, I guess, and Earl's got a big old camera for some reason.
This should be disqualifying. You should not be allowed to be president if you have this picture.
But anyways, getting back to this Muppet live performance that we watched. I do agree that the Miss Piggy is great. She is the highlight of this, but that their medley that they sing is also a little bit rough.
Yeah, it starts off pretty good, but then at the end, Kermit's kind of just like milling about, and Miss Piggy's like, "What are you doing?" And it's kind of like, "What are you doing, Kermit?" I agree with Miss Piggy.
It seems like they maybe should have left it for the she starts by singing like "You're just too good to be true," and it was like, oh, this is a sweet little song, and then Kermit started singing, and then they kept switching back and forth between songs, coming back to the beginning, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe just not enough rehearsal or something. Or
that was
I'm not
something
sure.
else I was wondering. He was so busy, Matt. You just read about how busy he was.
That is very true. He was not a man who had a ton of time for rehearsal, probably.
Yeah. But who comes out smelling like a rose? Carrol Spinney. He's the star of this whole thing, I think.
Yeah, because next is Bruno the Trash Man, who roller skates out, already being like, yeah, look what I can frickin' do.
He's such an unassuming fellow to be roller skating also.
Yeah, like you wouldn't, if you just see like a big burly garbage man in New York, you're not going to expect him to be going like, wee! But yes, Bruno the Trash Man roller skates out, and then Oscar spits out some yellow feathers, implying that he has consumed Big Bird. It's apparently something that they would do multiple times at like different live performances. Oscar would come out spitting out yellow feathers.
One of his signature gags, huh?
But apparently those yellow feathers just fall off all the time. Because I have heard from multiple people who have visited Sesame Street, the set, that like very often if you get to visit the set, they will give you one of Big Bird's feathers because they're just like lying around everywhere. Yeah. We got to get invited to New York, Sam. We got to go to Sesame Street the Musical as press. We got to go see Sesame Street and hang out with some Muppets.
We're the foremost authorities. Come on.
On what?
Muppets.
I feel like that would be challenged and proven wrong very quickly.
We're the sixth foremost authority. You specifically. I'm like maybe the 45th.
Prove us wrong, internet. But yes, there is a meta moment, perhaps accidentally, during this performance where we get a little bit of insight into how Bruno the Trash Man's puppet works. Because Oscar says to Bruno, "It's time for you to say hello, if we can find the control," as he roots around. Because basically, if you want to picture it, the way Carrol Spinney works Oscar is he is dressed as Bruno the Trash Man. And then he has like a garbage can attached to the front of his costume. There are two fake arms that are holding that trash can onto him. And then his two real arms are through the hole that leads into that trash can because he's performing Oscar's mouth with his right arm and Oscar's left hand with his left hand.
Oh, right. Okay.
So his arms are just out in front of him performing Oscar.
Oh.
Through the hole in the front of his costume.
I forgot about his other hand.
Yeah. And that left hand is what reaches down into the trash can, and there's a wire that's attached to Bruno's mouth that Oscar can then pull on to open Bruno's mouth to speak, which is why he
Cool.
doesn't do it for very long anytime he speaks ever. But yeah, Oscar, of course, sings I Love Trash because that's all he does now. And is eventually joined by the boss men, the Clodhoppers, the Birds, Dog Leon. Everyone comes out to do a kick line for some reason, which is one of Sam's least favorite things, is when not only is there big Muppets flapping around dancing for no reason, but when they're like specifically doing something uncharacteristically.
Yeah, when it evolves into them just dancing, it's no good. It means they've run out of ideas.
Like if they were dressed as the Rockettes or something, that'd be funny.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
you have like a boss man and like the Clodhoppers and Dog Leon dressed as the Rockettes coming out,
Uh-huh.
that's a joke. You did it. Good job.
Instead, it's just a bunch of guys milling around.
But during this, clearly Carrol runs off stage and half undresses because Jim, Frank, and Carrol all come out to take a bow. And Carrol is still wearing the Bruno the Trash Man pants and Oscar.
He
So
is,
he is just-
that's Oscar on him.
Yeah, he's still got Oscar on his arms, but he's like removed the Bruno head and upper body.
Is this so? Do you think if the other ones had been there, they would have gotten to come out and do a bow too?
I have to assume so. Like,
Yeah.
you're giving credit to like the named puppeteers, which again, I think lends credence to a bit of the like, there are other puppeteers helping out who are maybe beginners or
We got the B
interns,
team here.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like, okay, Jim and Frank and Carrol are going to go do this thing. Let's send some puppeteers from the workshop over to help them out.
Right.
Because again, like, at this point, they were not done making the Muppet Show. Like, they were on a break, obviously, because Jim and Frank are off doing this. But, like, some people probably stayed in London or took their own vacations or something instead of going to this. Like,
But who was in
they're not-
Sweetums?
That's a good question. It sounded like Richard Hunt,
Yeah.
but that also could have been pre-taped.
Oh, that
But
makes sense.
again, this is all speculation.
Huh. Okay.
But it kind of just ends. And I feel like Jim also wasn't sure how it was going to end because after they come out and take a bow, they leave the stage and then they come back out. First, just Jim. And it seems like he's about to give a speech. And he's about to come out and like say something to the crowd. And then I don't know if somebody was like, nah, Jim, that's not what we're doing. Or what? Because Frank and Carrol just end up coming back out and they all go like, oh, all right, goodbye. But that's kind of all we watched this week. It is a weird, just
Kinda mishmash.
mishmash. Yeah.
Jinx.
Well, I can't talk for the rest of the podcast now.
Oh shoot, that was the thing all that we watched, and now it's time for Muppet of the Week. Unjinx. How do you unjinx somebody? Oh shoot, I don't remember how. I say what? Type it. Oh, you were pointing at your name. All right. Obviously, I am. This is why I'm not the host of any podcast. I'm just the zany sidekick, Matt Gatos.
Yes, that's me. Hello. I'm here and unjinxed.
I forgot the rules of Jinx.
That was, I didn't know what was going to happen.
I didn't know
I
you
could
were
have gone
so
on for an hour.
committed to the game of Jinx.
Got to respect the rules.
You have to have something you believe in life, I suppose.
And for me, it's just the rules of Jinx. It's the one and only thing. It's what I'm clinging on to, Sam. But that is the summer of 1980. We've done it. We made it through. And yeah, we will have some more mishmashy times coming up in the future. But this was just an era of weird Muppet things we had to get through. The Muppet Men are very busy behind the scenes,
Summer
making some more stuff
vacation,
for us to
baby.
watch.
They're jet setting.
I mean, they are hanging out in Bermuda, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but now it is time for that Muppet of the Week. This week's Muppet of the Week, as we mentioned previously, is Bruno the Trash Man.
He's I was completely unfamiliar with Bruno the Trash Man.
I feel like I had seen pictures of Bruno the Trash Man, but as we get into Bruno's tenure as a Muppet, it might make sense as to why you're not super familiar with Bruno. Bruno is described as a sanitation engineer and personal chauffeur to Oscar the Grouch. And he was designed as a way so that Oscar could participate in the touring Sesame Street live shows.
That makes sense.
Because they were like, hey, Oscar's really popular, but it's hard to make him like out and about in his garbage can. So apparently there was some puppet like this. I could not find what it was, but Carol Spinney at one point referred to an act on The Gong Show that used something like this, where somebody was holding a puppeteer in a sort of fake-looking way. What this reminds me of is like those Halloween costumes where it looks like you're riding an ostrich, or it looks like like your legs aren't your real legs. It's like that kind of illusion.
Or like with the headless, like you're headless and your head's in your hands. You know?
Right. Yeah. Or you're riding on the shoulders of a monster or something like that. It's like there's lots of like these inflatable Halloween costumes.
Or you're getting
that do a
abducted by
similar...
an alien.
Exactly.
What are some more?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
But that did make me think of that really good video of the little kid wearing the alien abduction one who acts his ass
really
off.
selling it.
Yeah.
We're all gonna look like fools when that was real.
That was the proof we've all
That's
been waiting
what they look
for.
like, yeah.
They created the perfect disguise. But yeah, while Carol Spinney was not only roller skating and singing and puppeteering Oscar with both of his hands stuck out in front of his chest like a alien, he was seeing through where the character's eyes would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So the character of Bruno, if you haven't looked him up yet, has like these low-set eyebrows that are hiding his eyes. So apparently somewhere in there are some holes that Carol Spinney's looking out of. And they did have a piece of wire that is strung from Bruno's lower jaw to the inside of Oscar's can so that he could pull on to open up the mouth. But Bruno first appeared on March 8th, 1979 in season 10 of Sesame Street, which in our timeline, chronologically, was like a year ago before this performance. But it's also been like 15 episodes since we discussed season 10 of Sesame Street.
Right.
But apparently in that episode, Bruno begins to pick up Oscar's can. And Oscar is like, hey, you can't take this. I live here. But he does decide that he likes to be carried around. So he's like, hey, you can't throw me away, but you can carry me around for a little while, please. And so in that episode, Bruno continues to carry Oscar around to various locations on Sesame Street.
That's cute.
But nobody lets him stay where he wants to go. So he tries out different spots to settle in. And everyone's like, no, you don't get to be here. You have to go back to the trash
Why?
pile.
Because he's so nasty and unpleasant?
I mean, probably. He's very off-putting.
Yeah.
But I was alluding to earlier, Bruno's last physical appearance was in 1993.
Oh.
So we were still quite young and maybe not forming super clear memories of Bruno.
Right.
And even by that time, Bruno was only popping up like once or twice a season on Sesame Street. So he was also not like a super popular like puppet. And apparently after that, after a few years in storage, Carol Spinney said that the puppet's foam had disintegrated and that rebuilding the puppet would have been prohibitively expensive. So they retired the character.
He doesn't look that expensive. I imagine his denim jacket would have survived.
Yeah, presumably just the head like would need to be rebuilt, which is...
Maybe he just didn't want to do it. It's like, no, costs too much money. We simply can't.
But there has been an appearance by Bruno in the last couple years in animated form.
Oh.
There is an animated video on the Sesame Street and Community's YouTube channel where they're talking about, basically they're telling kids that masking is important because you need to take care of the people around you. And while Abby Cadabby and her mom are walking down the street talking about this, you see Bruno walk by in the background with a trash can wearing a mask.
Oh, good for Bruno.
Good for Bruno.
I was a bit scared there for a second.
He was the anti-masker in the spot? No. There's no confrontation. But there's also, in 2016, a new character popped up on Sesame Street called the Recycling Man, who was an actual, like, hand puppet, but looks exactly like Bruno in hand puppet form.
He's a little Bruno.
He's a little Bruno. And he is not named in any way, but he is a Recycling Man. Clearly a nod to Bruno.
An homage.
Yeah. As far as performers go, Carol Spinney is the man behind Bruno. But at least once, somebody else performed Bruno. Because Martin P. Robinson, who performed Snuffy and Telly, Monster, and a bunch of other people, needed to do a performance of Oscar's niece, Irvine, being carried by Bruno. And so he was in the suit puppeteering Irvine from inside the trash can. As far as fun facts and family members go, we don't know anything about Bruno.
It's a mystery, man. He keeps it pretty close to the chest.
We do not learn a lot about Bruno, mostly because he barely ever speaks. He gets like 2 or 3 words at a time, usually. But we will see Bruno more, both on Sesame Street and in Follow That Bird, and a couple other Sesame Street specials. So, if you had to rate Bruno, What do you give him?
Bruno kind of blew my socks off a little bit. Bruno was like, that was such a great piece of like inventive puppeteering.
When you look, and it's one of those where the more you think about it, the more impressive it is. Because we've talked so many times about Big Bird and how, like, Carrol Spinney's doing a lot. He's looking at a monitor. He has his hand above his head. He's using his pinky to control the eyes. His other hand controls his other hand. There's a lot going on. But Bruno's complicated it in different ways.
And then they add roller skating to it every now and then.
Yeah, which they've also done with Big Bird. And I don't really understand why they keep throwing these things at Carrol of like, all right, I know you're doing 5 things, but what about 6?
I bet it's his idea. I bet he's like,
probably
I know how to
is.
roller skate, and I know how to be Big Bird. Uh-huh. So,
I guess when your career is Big Bird,
yeah.
you're probably like try to think about fun ways to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's like people who are like in Marvel movies, and you're like, why are they so buff? And it's like, their job's to be buff.
Right. All day they work out
Yeah.
for 4 months to be in a movie.
Yeah.
That is their job. They're getting paid to do this.
Underneath
so
that suit, Big Bird's ripped.
Carrol Spinney's just
He probably
looking like
is
Chris
pretty
Hemsworth.
strong. Yeah.
Now I'm just imagining like a weird Sesame Street calendar where Carrol Spinney, super ripped and tan,
Oh.
but he's still got the Big Bird pants on with suspenders.
Yes, exactly. He's got half of all his costumes on, and he's like posing.
It's like firefighter calendars because
Exactly.
it's still got the suspenders, but it's just the Big Bird pants.
We missed our chance. This would have been a good PBS promotional calendar or something.
Yeah, but we do have illustrators in our audience.
That's true. If you want
Who
to draw
can
sexy
draw
Spinny, do it.
Sexy Spinny calendar. Just 1 month. I just need to see like a proof of concept of like, whatever month Carrol Spinney's birthday was, just make that month of the calendar with a sexy Spinny.
The sexiest Spinny you can. He just took the Big Bird head off. He's a little sweaty still.
Oh.
Yeah.
He brushes his bangs out of his face. And
His bowl cut bangs, yeah.
yeah, the bowl cut is necessary to this image, by the way. I'm talking giant goatee, bowl cut, 70s Spinny. But with like a jacked Chris Hemsworth body.
Yeah. Well, anyway, any friend of Oscar's a friend of mine. I'm going to give him an 8.5.
I was going to say 8 as well. But you know what? I'm going to eke up to an 8.5.
Just so we can be twins?
Just so we can be twins.
Yay.
And just so that way, because I was afraid that 8 was too high, even though I really love Bruno.
It
I was
probably
like,
is, but he's
Yeah.
really cool.
But you've talked me into it.
Yeah. He was roller skating, for God's sake.
He's very impressive. So, Sam, since it's been forever since we've recorded, I have to assume you've watched some non-Muppet stuff.
It's been so long since we recorded that I can't remember any of it.
I started making a list of all the things I've been watching and doing, and it's an untenable list of things that we can't really talk about in detail. But
Okay. Well, the things that stand out, the end of Obi-Wan, which I liked.
finished it.
It was really
Yep.
cool to see, spoiler alert, Hayden Christensen, to see like what it's like inside that mask and be like, okay, you're bringing those two versions of the character together in a way that now is making sense to me, where I can see him in there now.
Yeah, which is something they've explored a bit in Rebels, but I think they did it even better, like showing that dichotomy in Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And it was just really cool and brutal and neat. I liked the last episode a lot. I finished Stranger Things, which was fine. I stayed up too late last night doing that.
I've only watched the first 4 episodes of this new season so far, and so far I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
so.
the whole thing was good. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it from top to bottom. It felt much less pointless than other seasons of Stranger Things have felt to me.
I have like zero memory of seasons 2 and 3.
No, me either.
I remember things that happened in those seasons, but not like an overall plot or like anything that I'm supposed to like remember as like a callback to earlier seasons. I'm like, that's going over my head.
Yeah, it shows clips in the last couple episodes. It'll show like clips of things that happen. I'm like, oh, I guess I kind of know what that is, but I'm not going to go back
characters
and
that I'm
find
like, oh
out.
yeah, it was like a season 3 character. I'm like, oh, that was like early season 2. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know when anything happened on this show because it like the last season came out 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember anything I watched or did, Matt. My brain is just a big empty black hole. What did you watch?
Speaking of black holes, I
Did you
started
watch
watching
The Black Hole.
No,
Oh.
I want to though. It seems like it would be fun to watch, but also very bad.
Boring, and you'd fall asleep.
Yeah. But no, I started watching the new season of For All Mankind.
Oh yeah, Rachel's been watching that too.
It's very good. I watched a lot of very stressful things over the past few weeks, which is not the best choice, but like it was very good. Also very good and very stressful is The Bear on Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
It takes place in an Italian beef place in Chicago, which helps me like it just like by description. It is a very, very well-made show that will stress you the fuck out. So I would not watch it if you're having like a high anxiety day. There's only 8 episodes, and some of them are only like 20 minutes long, but it's very good. And episode 7 was shot all in one take.
Is it just a lot of like sweaty kitchen screaming or something?
That's the whole show, Sam.
Oh, okay.
The whole show is people being very mad at each other in a kitchen.
I hate that stuff. Working in a kitchen would be my nightmare, I think.
And this is, I've seen many a review calling this the most accurate and upsetting version of working in a kitchen they've ever seen.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really well-made show, and the guy who directed and like created it has previously only really done, he's like directed like not Inside, but the 2 previous Bo Burnham specials, and he's done a couple other comedy stand-up specials. But like that's what this guy has done a lot of, is comedy stuff. And so like there's some comedy in this, but very like there's some moments that are like actually genuinely funny, and then other moments where you're like, am I supposed to be laughing at that? Because that's kind of fucked up. But overall, a very enjoyable show. I watched it all in 2 days. All right, so before we go, we want to let you know what we'll be watching next time. Because next week, that's right, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode.
What a pace. Can we keep it up?
We'll see.
Probably.
We're diving back into The Muppet Show as we start to discuss the last season, the 5th season of The Muppet Show.
Another something fork stuck in the road. Are they going to sing that in the last episode? That'd be fun.
Seems unlikely since that song didn't exist for another like 14 years.
Hope you had the time of your life. They're going to, I bet.
I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they invented it and Green Day was doing a cover. I don't know.
That's why that song's called the end theme of The Muppet Show. Haven't you ever noticed that?
Yeah, that's in the parentheses. I never read that far.
Yeah.
So yeah, as usual, we'll be doing that by watching the episodes in the New York airing order. We'll be watching the episodes that aired between September 20th and October 4th, 1980, featuring guests Carol Burnett, Roger Moore, and Shirley Bassey. 2 out of 3 James Bond connections there.
Who's Shirley Bassey?
She sang a bunch of James Bond songs.
Oh, great.
I think she sang Goldfinger.
I thought that was Eartha Kitt.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Now
I
you're
don't
gonna
know.
make me Google.
I always assumed that was Eartha Kitt. I'm excited for the last season of the Muppet Show. Partially because I'm ready to be done with it, but partially because I bet they're gonna go for it.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert, I've watched ahead a little bit, and they definitely go for it in ways that work, in ways that don't, but they go for it. And the theme song somehow got worse this season, so we'll talk about that next week.
On season 5, it does.
Yeah, it's worse.
It was so perfect to begin with.
Yeah, they ruined it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll also be watching a short interview from around this time with Jane Henson.
Oh.
Yeah, where she discusses the
Interesting.
traveling museum exhibit, The Art of the Muppets.
Okay.
So we'll also touch briefly on that exhibit and the book it inspired as well, which you have.
Which I have. I'm looking at it right now.
Well, while Sam reads that, I will thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to head on over to Commitment.com to pick up a Commitment logo enamel pin. And also check out our Patreon page where you can support the podcast. You can email us at mail@commitment.com if you've got any questions or links to secret, unseen, dark web Muppet things. And you can follow this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at CommitmentPod, where we post, the things we're going to watch, and also just fun memes sometimes. But you can follow me on the internet at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.